it on?
It's on.
Greetings from Houston, British Columbia.
Hello.
We had another long drive day, and I'll go more into that here in a second. But we've driven a total of 3,455 miles since we left home, and we drove 336 miles today. That doesn't sound like very much. At home, 350 miles is 5 hours including lunch. But here you can't go 85 miles an hour. You can't, and the speed limit is lower for one thing, and I don't want to get put in a Canadian prison for another. And the windy roads, and every little town has a speed limit of 30 or 40 kilometers, which is 25 miles an hour or something like that. So it just takes longer. And then, especially driving the rig, you'll be tooling right along and feeling happy, and then a gust of wind will hit you, and you're not happy anymore. You're 2 feet over this way.
Yeah.
And thankfully it hadn't been blowing this way. It'd knock us into somebody. But the wind's caught us good 2 or 3 times, and I've had to change my drawers a time or two. It's just startling. It's nothing you can't handle. It just takes you by surprise. What you got, Mama?
Nothing. It was a long drive day, like Papa said. Beautiful views. It's kind of the same view, but it's very pretty. In the little towns, some of the little towns are better than others. I think they're cuter than others. So we're going to talk about that. That's pretty much it for right now.
I'd have in my mind the Alaskan part of the Alaskan Odyssey hasn't started until we crossed the border, because we had another agenda prior to crossing the border, which means that I had another agenda. It was going to Longmire Days, and we spent a week in Buffalo and spent a couple of days at my aunt's house, and so that's we could have been to Alaska by now if we just went straight from the house there, but you can't just. I read on one of the posts, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. So we've been getting some journey up out the yin yang.
Yes. Some days more we can stand.
I thought we'd do just counting since we crossed the border. We'll rate some things 1 through 10. And I thought we'd start with the scenery. Just for some context, in my mind, a 10 is western Montana. A 10 is the drive from Butte to Helena, and unless you've driven that, it's just I don't have the vocabulary to explain how pretty that is. So in my mind, that and the eastern Wyoming, the Buffalo area, the Bighorns, that's just, I haven't seen anything to beat it yet. So that's a 10 in my mind. So for me, the scenery reminds me a lot of northern lower Michigan. A lot of farms, a lot of corn, a lot of berries, a lot of cherries, and it's and it's just, no offense to my Canadian viewers, but it's just boring. You'll drive for 2 or 3 hours, and then all of a sudden you'll see something that says, "Oh, that's pretty," or "Oh, look at that," and then you're right back to the same stuff. So, and to quote our good friend Robert from what is it?
Traveling Robert.
Traveling Robert, who we'll put a link to down below. He's our first shout out for today. So to quote him, the scenery is just meh. I give it a 6.5. What do you think, Mama?
Excuse me. Yes. Some places it's just stunning. The mountains and things like that is just stunning. The lakes. But yeah, it's a lot of green, fields. Like I can see that at home. You know what I mean? And I guess I just kind of had a different picture of Canada. But that's the same as when I went to Michigan for the first time. I had a different thought of Michigan. I couldn't tell you what I thought that it probably looked like, but it didn't look like what it did. It just looked the same as home to me. So yeah, it's pretty in spots. Just like at home, things are pretty in spots and things are not. So, I I'd say probably a 6.
A 6 from my mom.
Yeah.
We're going to rate 0 to 10 wildlife viewing. We've seen a questionable cow in a field. It may have been something else, but we were going too fast to tell if it was a cow or not.
Yes.
We saw a deer jump a fence, one deer, just a regular old deer, and we saw one yesterday that was posing for the people's Insta at the campground, so I don't even know if that counts.
Yes.
And we may or may not have seen an owl.
Yeah, we don't know.
So as far as wildlife viewing goes, I'm giving it a big fat Tim Horton hole in a donut 0.
0.
Mama, 0?
0. I'm with you on that, a 0.
And the people, the Canadians that we've dealt with seem very polite, very law-abiding. You hardly ever see somebody speeding. Every once in a while, a knucklehead will come screaming by you. But they mostly maintain the speed limit. And in the towns, in 2 different instances, I've seen people on bikes stop and push the crosswalk thing so they can cross the road. But and at home, especially when we were kids in Michigan, it's the only way you judged if you crossed the road or not was if that car had time to stop, not if you were going to be in their way. If they could stop before they hit you, then you just went on. So they seem to be very polite and very law-abiding. And yesterday at the campground, I was sitting outside and 2 people walked by and I said hello, and they said bonjour. So I've never been spoken to in French before, so that was the first. But so far, the people in Canada, the people themselves, I give them a 10.
Yes, a 10. Very nice, very nice. My first incident at the Walmart, they were all very nice. The people trying to help me deal with that and things. Yeah, a 10.
But a couple of just minuscule things. But we've twice gone to A&W and they got paper straws, which I hate, and there's no ice. It's the coldest place that I've ever been to. Put some ice in the darn drinks, will you please? Please.
It's a request.
And also they don't have bags. You either have to buy a bag at the Walmart like Mama did, or I guess you just load it in your car out of the buggy and then deal with it, which is what she did today.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's we're still rolling right along. We're going to be here for 2 nights to rest up tomorrow, and then we're going to the next campground, which is in Stewart, which is right across the border from Hyder, Alaska. The Hyder is the most southeast point in Alaska that you can get to by car. So it's going to be the first place in Alaska that we can say we're in Alaska. So we're going to do that. We're going to be there 2 nights, and then we'll go on from there. I think Mama had another shout out, a YouTuber.
Oh yes. Now he's not a travel YouTuber, but I like to watch him. He has lots of Appalachian history, some ghost stories on his channel, and it's Donnie Laws. I like the way he talks because he talks like me. So, but yeah, he has a great channel, and I love watching it. And he'll do the Ridge Talk, and he'll have his trail cam with the animals and things like that. So that's nice. I like watching his channel. So shout out to Donnie Laws, and I'm going to put a link in the description for Traveling Robert and Donnie Laws.
When we pulled into the campground today, we're at Shady Rest in Houston, or Houston, however they pronounce it, BC. And when we pulled into the campground, there were people the next campsite over sitting there. So I got out of the RV and said good evening, and the gentleman said hello, how are you? And I said good, how are y'all? I didn't mean to say it like that, but I said how are y'all? And they said, where are you from? And they're from Arkansas, and they're on their way home from Alaska.
Yeah.
And the rig on this side, I haven't talked to them yet, but they're from Florida, and they've got an RV to Alaska 24 bumper sticker, and they've got some other bumper stickers, chicken and things. So I'm assuming that they've already been up there. The guy from Arkansas was talking about the roads the farther up you get, and he said at one point he's pulling a travel trailer. At one point he was sure that the travel trailer became airborne. And in some time or another, one bump or another, he busted his propane line. So they don't have They haven't gotten it fixed, so they don't have hot water, and they're not going to have any heat. But they're going home, so the farther south they get, they won't need the heat. But you know, they're going to miss the hot water, I'm sure. But he didn't say anything about getting it fixed, so I imagine they're just heading on. What else you got, Mama? Anything?
That's it. Oh, we did go through this cute little town, and I made note of it, called Quesnel, I think. Quesnel. It was the prettiest town. I mean, it was like out of a Hallmark. The little river come down through it, had a little bridge that went across. It was just the cutest little town. It was very cute. I liked it.
The other big towns we've gone through, Kelowna, I didn't like that worth a darn. Kamloops, where we stayed. No, we didn't stay there last night, but we've gone through Kamloops. It was a little better than Kelowna. And then we went through Prince George today, just the southern part of it, and it seemed okay. And then here we are in Houston. Houston's a little farther up the road, but I went up there to get the A&W to get dinner today, and it seemed like just a little old town. Some of them seem big, but it's because you're comparing them to nothing. They're probably not any bigger than Cleveland, certainly not bigger than Chattanooga.
Yeah.
But we're on to bigger and better things. You got anything else, Mama?
Nope, that's it.
Hello to the Grands, Emma and Faithy.
Yes, hello, Emma, Faithlin,
and Tyler and Shauna. And we'll see you on down the road.
We'll see you down the road.